Hello guys, in today's video we are going to be talking what is programming. So the first thing a programmer, a developer should know is what is programming. So as a programmer I have one thing to say you. So not only about programming, whatever you learn, first know what are you going to learn. So in the case of programming, the same way. First you want to know what is programming. Then you will start to code and build websites, apps and learn new languages. So in simple words, if I am telling what is programming is the act of telling a computer that what to do by writing instructions in a language it understands. These instructions are written step by step so the computer can follow them exactly and perform tasks without mistakes. It's used to create almost everything you see on digital devices like websites, mobile apps, games, calculator. So a smart home system, robots and even the software that runs cars or aeroplanes. Programming works by breaking a big problem into smaller. So logical steps and then writing code to solve each parts. The computer follows this code exactly as written, which is why the instructions must be clear and precise. In simple words, programming is how humans communicate with computers to make them do useful, creative or do complex things. So I know you might not understand anything. So in simple words, a computer is a device which doesn't understand anything. A stupid brain, it doesn't know anything. But we humans are intelligent. So it doesn't understand what we say. If we say like, hi, my name is Jim, it won't understand. So in the way computer understand a language of computer, that might make a computer understand what we are going to say. So in the olden days, the first ever computer invented use coding, that all, right? So that was 010101. And 0 means off slate and 1 means on slate. So you don't need to care about this, that's old. So now we are going to learn what is programming, how it works, different types of programming. In this video, I'm going to be telling what is programming and everything you want to know to become a programmer. So stay tuned and watch my video. The next thing we are going to take is backend and frontend. Before we take that, in the description below, there are 2 links. And the first link is to a roadmap learning what I made for you guys. And it's about what we learn, what we are going to learn, all the things. I like that, guys. If you take that a look and learn, you might understand every points what I said. And don't worry of notes. I have write a reference notes as digitally that you can open, and if you wanted you can save it or you can just write it down in a notebook if you wanted. Don't worry of taking notes. Bad things like live in future, bro. And I made that for you guys, okay? So the next thing we are going to take is what is programming. So before we begin, some people doesn't know what are we going to learn. So we are now going to learn what is front end and back end. So apparently front end is the client side and front end is the part of an application that runs in the user's browser and handle users interaction. It is responsible for rendering UI components, handling user events, click, scroll, input, communicating with backend APIs, managing state in the browser, whatever it be. The thing what only user sees, okay? User means the person who see our website. And the main languages we use, the core technologies are HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And HTML is the document structure of that. CSS is the layout, responsive styling. JavaScript is the logic events, API calls, okay. So, and the main frameworks libraries we use here are React, Angular and Vue. So some people might not understand what I am saying. So here's a quick example. Like when you submit a login form, that is the front end part, okay? It validates the input from you, sends data to the server using an API request. So this is what a front end can do. A small example. So the next thing is backend, and it's the server side. Backend run on the server and manages business logic, data and security. It is responsible for authenticating users, processing requests, applying rules and logic, communicating with databases, sending responses to the front end, all things. And the main core languages or the backend technologies we use are Node.js, Python, Java, PHP, and the frameworks we use here are Express, Django, Spring Boot. And the databases we use here are MySQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. So here's a quick example. Like the main example I can give you first is backend, that is receives the login data from you, okay, and verifies the password. Is it good? Is it correct or not? And fetches users data from database. Users data it fetches from the database, okay, and returns success or error response. Like when you type a fake email and try to be a hacker, no, it's not working. If a programmer give the correct backend and front end for a website, it will never work because it will give the error response. And in the same case for password, okay, if it is wrong it will give error, if it's correct it will give success. And the main example I can give you is, if front end is about things look and feel, the everything, the UI components, the beautiful scrolls, the buttons, backend is about how things work and scale, the processing part of a website, app, whatever it be. Okay, this is about front end and back end. And the next technology we are going to be learning is full stack. So guys, as I promised, the next thing we are going to learn is full stack. And in full stack, before we learn full stack, there are three kind of developers and three kind of development. Like back-end development, front-end development, full stack development. And back-end developer, front-end developer, full stack developer. So this is actually not like that. I just said for our easy understanding. So I just said you guys, okay. So the next thing we are going to learn is what is full stack development. So apparently, full stack development means building both the front end and back end of an application, website, whatever it be, and making them work together as a complete system. A full stack developer should understand these things: how the UI is built about the front end, and how the server logic works, the back end process, how data flows between both of them, and how the app is deployed and scaled. And the main thing about the full stack developer, the full stack development, we should know what is back end, front end, both of them. So there are some responsibility of this front end and back end in the full stack development. Like the front end responsibilities are UI rendering, state management, form handling and validation, API integration, performance optimization. And the main tools we use here for the languages and the core technologies are HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the frameworks, libraries we use React, Angular, Vue, and the built-in tools are like Vite, Webpack. Okay, so the next thing is backend responsibilities, that are authentication and authorization, business logic, API design, database operations, security and performance. And the tools are Node.js, Python, Java, Express, Django, Spring, Rust, GraphSQL, SQL databases, SQL and no SQL databases, I think so. And the main thing is that Node.js, Python, Java are the languages and Express, Django, Spring are the libraries. REST, GraphQL, SQL and NoSQL databases are the databases of this backend responsibilities. And this is what you're gonna learn about full stack backend frontend. So guys, the next thing is how the internet works in programming. That's the next thing we are gonna learn here. So apparently the internet works in programming through a client service communication model. When a user interacts with a website or an application app, the client, browser or mobile app sends a request to a server over the internet. This request follows standard communication rules called protocols, mainly HTTP or HTTPS. When a domain name is entered, DNS translates the human readable name into an IP address, which identifies the server on the network. The request is then routed to the correct server using IP address, and delivered reliably using a TCP. The server runs the backend code, processes the request, applies business logic, and often interacts with the database or read or store data. After processing, the server sends a response back to the client, usually in JSON or HTML format. The client receives this response and updates the user interface accordingly. This entire process happens in milliseconds and repeats every time data is requested or sent. In programming terms, the internet is structured system or transferring data between distributed systems using standardized protocols. So guys, now you know how internet works in programming. So guys, now we are gonna learn what is an algorithm and flowchart. So apparently, when I am programming, I use them just for reference on what I am doing. Like, first of all, we are going to talk about algorithm. So I'm just first going to say, and next I'm going to say why I use them, So apparently an algorithm is a clear set of steps designed to solve a problem in a logical order. Each step must be unambiguous, meaning it should be easy to understand and give the same result every time. Algorithms are not written in a programming language. They are written in plain logic, our brain logic, So our brain has some ideas and that is given as algorithms, guys. In programming, every feature such as searching, sorting or logging in a user starts with an algorithm. So a good algorithm has three key properties. Like, if we want to understand it, like input, it takes some data, process, it performs operation on that data, output, it produces a result. For example, you have a website that have sign-in login. A person is new and he press sign in. He write his name, email, his own new password, everything, some details. It is known as input. It takes some data from the user and he click enter. Enter means there will be a button. Then it will process through the commands, the codes we gave. And finally, through the databases, through the back and everything, it processes like a cycle and finally give the user an output like success. You are signed in to our any account, So this is three key properties you want to know about algorithm, and this is about algorithm. So the next thing we are going to learn is a flowchart. Like, a flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm. It uses simple shapes like ovals, rectangles, diamonds and etc. to show the flow of steps and decisions. Arrows indicate the directions in which the program logic moves. Flowcharts help programmers visualize the logic, detect error early and understand complex processes easily. In a software development, Algorithms define the thinking process, while flowcharts translate that thinking into a visual roadmap that guides coding. So, for example, I have a client, okay? This is my client, and he have a $5,000 project about a house furniture shop, and it's a big project, okay? I have a lot of things to do. So the first thing I have to do is create a plan. Here I can use algorithm and flowchart and write a plan. Algorithm is my plain logic I have in my brain, and flowchart is used for like diagrammatic representation of my algorithm, and all together I can look at the first lines and create my website because I have an idea now. Like when you have no plan, nothing works that properly. When you have a plan, it works everything fine and comfort. So this is a quick example that I can give you for algorithm and flowcharts. So guys, I have some recommendations for learning programming space. First of all, if you are a basic programmer, you can learn Scratch. I recommend Scratch, okay? It's easy to learn. And the second thing I prefer you is Make Code Arcade. Don't think it as kid things. Every programmer was a beginner. They started with these tools, these things to start programming, to give ideas on what we are going to do. So if you are thinking, I don't want to learn this, then you can choose C, C++, HTML and CSS. Now we have more advanced languages like Python, Ruby. You can learn after what you learn about the concept of programming. Then only you have to jump forward to Python. You might think Python is beginner friendly, but it have a lot of advanced features coming forward. So I recommend these 4 things to learn. 5 things. Scratch, Make Code Arcade, C, C++, HTML, CSS, anything. It's not 5, okay? You can learn this base languages. I recommend you. If you don't know where to start, I will create a roadmap. Leave in the comments, make roadmap. In the next video, I will put a roadmap on what we are going to learn. How to learn this. A step by step, day by day, like a roadmap on what we are going to learn. Okay? Just comment down below. And guys, if you have any doubt, comment. I will clear on the spot. Within 1 day, I will comment what is your doubt. Okay? And don't forget, in the description below, I have made a link where you can take the notes as a reference and a learning roadmap.